Joining me now is the RNC chairman, Reince Priebus. And Chairman Priebus, we appreciate your time today. I just want to get your response to the Supreme Court's action yesterday on same-sex marriage. The RNC didn't put out a statement on it.
Well, I mean, we've been pretty consistent and clear. We believe that marriage should be between one man and one woman. I'm not running from that position. That's our position on it, and it's still the position today. And I do think that Ted Cruz probably laid out an avenue that some people may take, like himself, and looking at the Constitution, and our platform also echoes that position. But the fact is, you know, the Supreme Court decided that there wasn't enough inconsistency in the lower court to take up the case or cases, and they didn't. So, you know, I think it's a matter of whether or not the Constitution comes into play or not, and certainly the position of people in Wisconsin and other states, I think, should be respected, and they passed resolutions that said that people there believe that marriage should be between one man and one woman, and apparently the courts are now rewriting the laws that are passed in these states.
Chairman, clearly there's some division within your party. Those social conservative groups say that this needs to be a litmus test for Republicans in 2014 and in 2016. So is your guidance, would you counsel Republican candidates to run on this issue this fall? Why not make it a bigger issue right now if that's what you believe?
Because, I mean, for the fall, I think this is about the economy. It's about Obamacare. It's about what plans Republicans are going to put forward to get our spending under control and do something in Washington. And it's about governor's races and about how to get state budgets under control and get people back to work. So I don't think it's a top tier issue for the midterms, but I do think long term it's an issue in regard to what we need to do in this country to, number one, have a strong economy, a strong defense, and a strong society. And
so let me focus on some of the...
Wait, hang on a second, Peter.
Go ahead.
People like David Lane and people like Tony Perkins are right to be concerned about what's happened here in this country over the last couple of years, but it doesn't mean that it's, you know, the issue every single morning that we're dealing with in regard to these midterms.
Fine. Let's talk about some of these midterms right now. You said on Meet the Press this weekend that not taking control of the Senate would make 2014 a loss for the GOP. A significant roadblock right now for your party is a man named Greg Orman. Pat Roberts is throwing the kitchen sink at him right now. The poll numbers have not been good in recent days. I just want to get your thoughts on where that race stands right now and if you guys would embrace Greg Orman.
Well, we're here to help Pat Roberts, and we just sent in a rather sizable chunk of money down to Kansas to be of help, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that Pat Roberts wins. Certainly it is a challenge, but if you look at the polling, the gap seems to be closing. I don't think it's going to be anything but a nail-biter, but I still think, you know, we're going to net 6 when it's all said and done, or more. And I feel good about where we're at in the Senate, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that the president's done a lousy job, and most of these senators have followed the president off the plank.
And so if Orman wins, would your party's going to embrace Orman? Would you not want him to join the Republicans?
Listen, I'm open for any person in to walk in our door. The door is always open, but it's really a decision for the caucus, and it's a decision for the next majority leader, Mitch McConnell, to make.
Chuck Todd is watching 4 states on election night in particular. Those states, as we've been discussing before, really the bellwethers here. Alaska, Iowa, Kansas, as we discussed, and North Carolina. Which states do you believe are the deciders, will be the deciders?
Well, I mean, I think Alaska's moving in the right direction, and Sullivan is just continually creeping ahead. And what you're seeing up there, and what's really notable, Peter, is that Begich isn't moving at all. I mean, you can look at the number that you know, any poll today, and you look at his number, and most likely it hasn't moved for the last 6 months. He's just stuck. And so when that happens in a particular race like a midterm, there just isn't a whole lot of saving grace there for Mark Begich. I think Dan Sullivan's actually, you know, really getting into a territory that's pretty good and pretty comfortable. I think in regard to the other 3 states, I mean, look, I think we got to win purple states, and those are great examples of states that provide good environments for the Republicans, and we need to be competitive. I think Joni Ernst and Cory Gardner and Tom Tillis are doing a great job. It's going to be close. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's going to be a nail-biter. I think ultimately we have so many targets and such a good environment that we should be victorious in November.
All right, we'll watch and see what happens. Reince Priebus, appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Your counterpart is